Master Herbalist, created by the Center of Excellence, narrated by Helen Mccartney.
Module 1. A History of Herbal Medicine. Learning Objectives. At the end of this module, you will have an understanding of the historical roots of herbal medicine, be able to discuss how the herbal healing tradition grew and declined over the centuries, be aware of the important historical figures from the history of Western herbal medicine, understand the holistic approach, be able to discuss what a herb is in the context of herbal medicine. A history of herbal medicine. What did our ancestors do when they felt unwell? It's not a stretch to hypothesize that our hunter-gatherer predecessors, who were so in tune with nature, would have used the plants that they knew so well to help alleviate illness. In the past, the discovery of the therapeutic potential of a plant would have been a matter of trial and error, with plant knowledge then being handed on by word of mouth initially, down through the generations. We know from archaeological finds that medicinal plants were being used at least as far back as the Paleolithic era 60,000 years ago. Plants that herbalists still use today were found at sites dating back to this era, and when people ask if perhaps they were just being used as food, I'd recommend they try some medicinal herbs and see if they appeal as a food. Some herbs are notoriously challenging to consume thanks to their bitter or astringent nature. Our oldest healers are the shamans. Shamanic healing is witnessed across the globe to this day, and the shamans have always had a special relationship with therapeutic plants, both medicinal and psychotropic ones. Shamanism, as a practice, existed long before any recorded religion. We can see evidence of it as far back as the Neolithic and Paleolithic eras. Shamanic plant knowledge is a superb example of how herbalism was passed down through generations by the teachings of an older generation to a younger. Because shamanism is still prevalent in our tribal communities across the world, we get to see this passing down of knowledge very clearly. Shamans are famed for their use of potentially dangerous plants. Through many centuries of use and the exchange of knowledge through the generations, shamans are able to work with plants which, in other cultures, are considered too dangerous for human use. Written evidence for the medicinal use of plants actually accounts for some of the earliest books ever found. We can see healing plants discussed on 5,000-year-old clay Sumerian tablets in the Ayurvedic Vedas from 1500 BC, and in the traditional Chinese medicine classic, the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Materia Medica from 1000 BC. You will learn more about other herbal traditions in a later module. Herbs were, at various points in our history, key players in the medicinal system of the day. Huge medical strides were taken by Hippocrates and then his students, and later Galen. Many people don't realize that he did, in fact, take a holistic view of illness and health. It was his view that medics shouldn't suppress symptoms, they should treat the whole person. At this time, the uprising of the ancient Greek Empire, perhaps more than ever, the issue of illness was a major one because the organization of communities was changing. With the uprising of the empire came the creation of communities living in much closer proximity. And we know from our history lessons that densely populated areas of the past were an absolute breeding ground for disease. Hippocrates, as you now know, was an advocate of the holistic approach, treating the whole person rather than simply their presenting symptoms. He did so using a materia medica of over 400 herbs, and he also promoted the benefits of a good diet, exercise, and bathing. Hippocrates practiced humoral medicine based on the 4 humors: blood, phlegm, melancholy, and yellow bile, and the 5 elements: earth, air, water, fire, and ether. These elemental approaches are seen in other healing systems too, such as those of Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. Ultimately, each such modality highlights the belief that the body requires balance to remain well, and that imbalance can lead to ill health. There are a number of written works from the ancient Greeks
Sample complete. Ready to continue?